Well, I believe this is officially what season are we on? The new season of Snug Wrestling, season 5, episode 1. We're starting off brand new, fresh, because today is the first day of a new chapter in WWE. WrestleMania was this weekend. Tonight was the first Raw After Mania. And usually the Raw After Mania is filled with a lot of exciting stuff, and we did. We got a lot of call ups, fresh matches that we can look forward to, potential feuds already. I feel like we got a lot out of this Raw After Mania, and we are here to cover it all. Welcome, everybody, to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. My name is Edgar. I am the host. If you are new, welcome. Glad that you are here with us. We're going to cover everything pro wrestling. We had a great last year. So we're hoping for a great new year for us, for Snug Wrestling, and hopefully do a lot more than last year. That's always the goal, right? To grow more and to do more things. But welcome back, fellas. Mr. Blood is here, Tommy and Toxic. How y'all feeling today?
Doing pretty good. Kind of. It was I think a pretty decent episode of Monday Night Raw. You could feel that they had made some changes. Definitely felt like there's a lot of new story threads that are going to start happening, unfolding out of this episode. But also, I feel like this maybe it's becoming a running theme. Maybe it's just the way that they've changed things. This still felt like a pretty underwhelming episode of Raw for one that's supposed to be, the biggest Raw of the year, the most important Raw of the year, as it's always touted, the Raw After Mania. And I felt like this one paled in comparison to last year's Monday Night Raw After Mania. I mean, we got a heel turn from Becky Lynch. We got some call ups. We had a couple of title matches, title changes. Like it just feels so. It was a good Raw. It's just by comparison, it felt less than, if that makes sense. A lot like how WrestleMania has felt the last 2 years. A lot like go home shows have been feeling the last 2 years. A lot like some of these PLEs have felt the last 2 years. It's just starting to become a trend that's starting to feel like the new normal for WWE. And I'm not a fan of the new normal. I feel like they could be trying a lot harder. I feel like they could be pumping a lot more energy into things. And there was some good energy on this Raw, but also it felt like not a lot of wrestling on the wrestling show again. I don't even think we had 5 matches. I think we had like 4. And it honestly felt like 3, but I digress.
I'm doing good. I got state testing again tomorrow, so wish me luck on that. But the show was okay. I felt it was underwhelming for a Raw After Mania because they're usually wild as hell. But it was only sort of wild. There was things that were new, things that were unexpected, but not as crazy as they usually are.
Overall, the episode of Raw itself was pretty decent, in my opinion, especially with the call ups that we've got, a NXT run back that we got as well, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. So, when it comes to that, it just feels good, especially with the man that was called up that had Snug and I both popping over that, but we'll talk about that here in a bit.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like go home shows to PLEs or, the Raw After Mania, they I'm pretty sure they're like non-existent now, like as far as how the quality of the shows that the WWE has delivered the last couple of years. I don't even think that their shows or episode that we should be looking forward to that we normally do, if that makes sense, right? And why would they? Yeah, they can always try harder, but as long as people are going to pay for those tickets, there's no need for them to really try harder. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. But I don't know, maybe because I'm still off the high from how this episode of Raw ended, which I really enjoyed. I was pretty happy with this Monday Night Raw. Um, but yeah, we'll get into it. Tommy brings up a good point. There was a few call ups already. I'm just gonna call them out now because there was four that I can think of. The first one was Ethan Page, which I was really excited for. I love Ethan Page. The other one was Sol Ruka. Joe Hendry was also announced. And there was a fourth one. Did we see a fourth call up? All right. No, I think Zarya showed up on Raw, but I don't think she was announced to be officially called up, right?
No, I think she was just there to hype up the last woman standing match that they've got tomorrow night.
So then
and I don't think Soul was fully called up. I think they're doing her the way they did last year for a lot of these guys, and she's a soft call up because they didn't fully announce her for it.
I'm pretty sure Michael Cole said the new star from Raw when it comes to Sol Ruka. Did anyone else catch that, or am I tripping?
I did as well. Michael Cole was all over her during that.
So what did Michael Cole say?
I mean, he was heavily promoting her for NXT at the end when Zarya came in. He was heavily promoting their match on NXT this week, tomorrow, I believe. He was, but the only one that I specifically heard him absolutely say the newest addition to Monday Night Raw was for Ethan Page.
Fair enough. All right. Well, for sure, we got two call-ups already in Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. So that's pretty good news, man. We got fresh faces. We got new people showing up on Raw. Things are getting mixed up. That's always exciting. All right. Who do we have up first? Oba Femi had he started off the show. He got a great standing ovation. The people loving Oba Femi, and why wouldn't they? You know, after that crazy ass match that he had versus Brock Lesnar, he got a standing ovation, and he said 3 words: "The ruler is here." Mic drop, and then he left. That was it. But I thought it was a great reaction from the fans in Las Vegas that they gave to the ruler Oba Femi.
I don't have a lot to say about this. He said 3 words, so I'm going to leave it at 5. The man is a star.
Technically, I think it was 4. The ruler is here. That's 4. But I like the new Raw graphics that we got. They looked pretty good. Oba's statement, it was simple, but it made its point. He's here on Raw, and he's here to stay, and especially after he called a shot on Roman on the post show of WrestleMania. I might be tripping on the word part. I'm not good in words.
Overall, I'm just gonna leave it quick, leave it simple. That's all he needed to say, especially with the fact that he absolutely plans on going after Roman Reigns. The OTC against the ruler. I wouldn't mind that match at all.
Actually, I have one other thing to say because I feel like though I said that, I need to hearken on something that I think is important to. It's so simple because there are a few people in the last, let's call it 10 years that have been able to do something spectacular for their career and come in with a simple single sentence, couple of word mic drop. Roman Reigns comes to mind after he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he came out the next Monday night and he said, "This is my yard now." Mic drop, walks away. Jade Cargill won the women's WWE Undisputed Championship. What does she do? She walks out the next show. She goes, "I'm that bitch." Mic drop. Now Oba Femi walks out. "I am the ruler." Mic drop. That's it. There's something special when you can ravenously ramp a crowd up like that, and all you have to do is just stand there and let your presence, as the kids say, let the aura fill the room. That was irrefutable, indisputable, irrevocable fucking aura. That right there, my friends, is organically being over. That right there is, you either have it or you don't. And Oba fucking Femi absolutely has it.
Well, they're still in Vegas for this episode of Monday Night Raw After Mania. They're back in the T-Mobile Arena. And Rhea Ripley, the new WWE Women's Champion, technically from SmackDown, showed up on Raw to have a tag team match with her good old friend Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. And I'm like, okay, well, they're in Vegas, so yeah, why not have Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw? You know, that's cool, right? But also at the same time, like, I'm I feel the same way about this whole entire feud. The way that you guys feel about the MFTs and the White family. You guys are just over it. You guys just want to be done with it. This is how I felt. This is how I feel about this feud, this thing that's been going on with EO and the Kabuki Warriors and blah blah. And I know you guys are a fan of it, so that's just me, you know. To each their own, right? But it looks like, thankfully, it looks like they're finally gonna venture off into their own ways, EO and Rhea Ripley. They won this match. This match was actually pretty good. I started to like it once Rhea and Asuka were in there mixing it up. Their back and forth was really enjoyable to me. The rest of the match, I didn't really care too much for it because fucking Io Sky almost broke her goddamn neck again. Like, bro, like okay, I know she's a pro and she's really good at what she does, but at some point, bro, like, is it even worth it doing the fucking dives over and over again? Like, and she kind of reminds me of like little babies. You know how like little babies get hit? They hit each other really hard and they just get back up and just act like nothing happened. That's what reminds me. Io Sky reminds me of that. She's so resilient and she's tough. But man, dude, she's just getting lucky, bro. Like, I'm starting to worry, but other than that, yeah, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley won the tag team match.
Yeah, that EO spot genuinely scared the shit out of me. I legit, like, it actually made me like hold back in my seat, and I went, oh my god. And I was like, oh my god, someone fucking check on her. My wife's like, what happened? I'm like, didn't you just watch that? Her neck went to the side, like damn near behind her shoulder, all of her weight on top of her neck. And I had to rewind it so my wife could see it. Scared the absolute piss out of me. And then thankfully they checked on her after the match. You could see how concerned Rhea was for her in the celebration. But I just think she needs to switch up the way she does that suicide dive. Instead of going out sideways like that, where her top part of her body always goes down first, just do a suicide dive through the ropes straight out. Like, they can catch you just straight out. Stop doing the side shit. She almost gets hurt every time. When it comes down to it, this is the match we were originally supposed to have at Mania. Obviously, because they had no other competitors built up or completely occupied in the tag division for the women for Jade. And obviously, we now know why Bianca could not come and have that feud with Jade. You know, congratulations again on the pregnancy. This was the match that should have been at Mania. And we got it here, which is why I think they gave it the extra time they gave it. It went about, 12 to 15 minutes. I thought it was pretty damn good. I thought it was a good wrap-up, a bow, riptide over the moonsault, clean finish, done. And it's over. It's over. It's a nice, just bow on top, done. Would it have been nice if they had the payoff at Mania? I think so. I think they've been building this story since Io and Rhea started feuding very early last year going into Mania. That's where all of this really stemmed from. So you're talking like 14 months of story. Would have liked to have seen it get that payoff at the big one. But I'm glad they've wrapped it up. One last good match, and I hope Rhea doesn't stay on SmackDown too long because she's definitely going to be missed on Raw.
I'm gonna go back to the Kabuki Warriors video package, or Asuka's video package, I guess you could say. During that, I started thinking to myself, about Rhea's first defense or feud, even though she's been in this. But I thought that Asuka could have pinned her, and then that's how we get to Asuka versus Rhea at Backlash for Rhea's title. But that didn't happen. But I sort of didn't like this match, and it's because we've seen it too many damn times. But overall, the match was good, like in the actual match. No key spots really for me, other than that like super scary one from EO. But I am so glad that all of this is over, and I hope it is, and I hope they just don't have Asuka and EO feud. That would be stupid.
I had fun with it. I don't overall think that Asuka and EO will be feuding. I have a feeling like at this point, that whole story involving the three of them are done at this point. So hopefully this entire feud is gone, because I'm kind of with Snug on this one, where it's been going on for so long. It just needs to be over at this point. But the match itself, I actually liked.
Here's another idea. How about don't do the dive at all? Mr. Blood, you mentioned like, oh, maybe she should do it differently or whatever. But I'm like, everyone does it. Like, it wouldn't be the end of the world if Io Sky just stopped doing it. And I mean, Javon Evans is flying out the ring. Fucking, even the big guys, Eric Rowan is doing dives. Like, why, bro? And to me, I think the best dive or the guy that does the dive the best right now that I can think of off the top of my head is Dragon Lee. I say just let Dragon Lee keep doing it, because the way that he does it is fucking crazy. And Io Sky should probably just come up with something else.
I mean, nah, because there's always a safer way to do it. That's just coming from a wrestler. There's always a safer way to do it. There's always a way to adjust your, your skill set in the ring. When it comes down to it too, something I did want to mention. I feel like this was a missed opportunity. The only gripe I have in this match, it was a missed opportunity to have the feud end with Kairi finally turning on Asuka and standing up for herself. That's the only thing I would have liked to seen from this. So we could have had the moment with Rhea and Io, but then also them embracing and forgiving Kairi. After everything we've seen, I felt like it was building up to that, and I don't know why they couldn't have done it here. I think that really would have popped the hell out of the crowd, seeing Io and Kairi hug, and seeing Kairi be the reason Asuka lost. And I think that was the only criticism I had, is that if I were writing the show and I'm not, I would have written that in there, because I feel like if we're ending the whole feud, that was a major part of the very beginning of them fighting with Asuka in the first place. And it would have been a perfect, kind of period on the end of the sentence here.
These dives are beginning to feel like the new super kick is just overdone to me. But hey.
Well, high flying is a style of wrestling.
It's just, I don't know. For once, I think I actually agree with fucking Peter Rosenberg. I never thought I'd ever say that, but goddamn. Well, we heard from the former World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, who cut a really passionate, intense, real promo. But hey, that's CM Punk. That's just what he does on the regular basis. And he's like, look, man, I've been going through a lot of defeats as of late. I had friends. I lost friends, coworkers. I lost my dog. And, he put over the people that work for the WWE, the truck drivers, the people in catering, the people that make the outfits, the makeup, the people that we don't really hear about when it comes to, who makes the WWE work backstage, right? So that was cool. And he mentioned like, look, I did lose, but this is not the end for me. I'm not gonna, turn all emotional and just be sad and depressed. No, I'm gonna stay ready. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep making the dates. And the reason for that is you never know when another championship opportunity is going to fall from the sky. And Cody Rhodes' music hit, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I want to see that match so freaking bad. Both of these guys are still really banged up. You can see the bruises, the scratches from, the main events that they had at WrestleMania the night before. And they're selling it, they're beat up, and yeah, man, face to face, Cody and Punk. Cody says, just say win. Just say win, punker. So hopefully we get this match soon. What did you guys think?
I really like that Punk put over all the unsung heroes of WWE that really do just have a hand in production. It reminds me of Avengers Age of Ultron when they land back at Avengers Tower and Maria Hill walks onto the Quinjet. She looks at Tony, calls him the boss, and he goes, "Oh, I'm not the boss. He's the boss." Points at Captain America. "I'm just the guy that designs everything, builds everything, pays for everything, and just makes everybody else look cool." And that's what I think of the production team. It's like they never get recognition, but they're the reason any of this works. Like without production, WWE is literally just a fucking ring in the middle of probably a fucking field, because it's also the unsung heroes that help get the building set up, all the chairs out, set up the entire stadium and the stage and the ring crew. And I used to be on ring crew when I was a pro wrestler and training in pro wrestling. Ring crew is so important. We also set up everything, concessions. So I like that he gave them their praise. It's really nice because no one ever thinks to thank the guy that mops up the floor, right? But also, I will say on the other side, I like that he took the loss on the chin. He didn't complain. He didn't whine. He's looking forward to the future. He's not a man that's living in the past, right? That's what I like about Old Man Punk. Cody came out. Man, that was brutal. It was so bad. My wife thought it was makeup, and I was like, "No, babe. If you watched the replay from Saturday, if you saw the backstage WWE.com footage of like them literally like prodding at his eye to try to make sure it wasn't like welling up with like blood in the lids and stuff, that like the entire bend of Randy's ankle had wrapped around the entire front of his face. Like the laces sliced his freaking forehead. But I love Cody, man. I mean, you look at Cody, that is the guy that looks like a fighting champion because he literally looks like he was in a freaking fight. I will say between these two, their promos, though I love them together, when they're doing the buddy thing, it's a little wonky because I feel like they're just ad-libbing. There's no script. They're just playing off each other. And then it kind of feels like it's very in the middle, stale, no energy. Fans are like, dude, this is awkward. Just kiss already or something And then finally, then we get the tension, Punk's like, "Are you calling me a loser?" But he's like, "I'm okay with that. I technically am. But you know what? I'm looking for the future because you never know when another opportunity is going to drop in your lap." And he looks at Cody's title. The fans go crazy. And I love that is one match. If there was any match I really want to see this year, oh, you better believe it is Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk.
Punk's title reign with the World Heavyweight Championship was more than just a title reign. It was a catalyst of hope and recovery from all of the loss and pain in Punk's life outside of the ring and kayfabe, which it was a good reign, don't get me wrong. And he's not going home and crying. No, an opportunity appeared right in front of him, and I felt like he was taking it without saying, "Hey, I'm taking it." That being Cody Rhodes. This is a match I've been wanting to see since Punk returned in 2023, even though I didn't exactly know who he was because that's when I started, kind of getting back into the swing. By the way, Reigns and Orton put both of them through it at Mania. So props to both of them. And I can't wait to see if Punk gets brought over to SmackDown, which I don't want that to happen, even though it would do so much for SmackDown. It just does not need to happen. Or if they just, which this sounds stupid now that I'm saying it. They put the undisputed title over on Raw, which I don't see them doing because they have the World Heavyweight Championship. But I know that this is probably going to happen at Backlash.
Overall, yeah, that's just how this is going to be. And if this is how we finally get Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk, I'm not mad at it. I'm really not, because no matter when we get this match, this is going to be a banger of a match. That's just how that is. But with Punk putting everyone over in the back, it works because it's Punk. So him being the one to just go, hey, it's not just us out here that does all of this. There are people back there who do not get the recognition that they deserve, that they highly deserve for setting all of this up. Without them, none of this would be possible. So that just works out. And if this is how, like I said, if this is how we're getting Punk and Cody, bring it. This is how I want it. But there is one question that pops into my head. Yes, he wants to look towards the future and not look at the past. Great. He didn't do what we thought he would do. He didn't bring up the steps, in which that I was a little bit shocked of.
Yeah, I mean, he was out there complaining. He didn't have any complaints. He just, like Blood said, he took it to the chin like a champ, right? Dust yourself off and let's move on. So that was cool to hear from CM Punk. Well, we got the Raw main roster debut from our boy Ethan Page, Tommy. I was so psyched for this. I love Ethan Page, man. He is, he's not with the flashy shit, bro. He's not, he doesn't fuck around. He really does this shit for real. He loves this shit. He's been wrestling in the indies and in AEW and then NXT, now WWE. And I really like Ethan Page a whole lot. He had a lovely match versus Javon Evans, and he picked up the win versus Javon Evans on his debut. And that was one of the things I was curious about, because Javon Evans has been getting over a lot, but this is also Ethan Page's main roster debut. So, history would say on the debut, the guy that's there to show up on his first time usually gets the win, but it's versus Javon Evans. So I'm like, how is this going to go down? They're not going to beat Ethan Page on his debut match, right? But they didn't. But they did it in a way where Javon Evans is really, really, really protected. Not only was, commentary heavily putting over the fact that Javon Evans was in a brutal ladder match last night, which he was, versus 5 other people, and he took crazy bumps. But there was also an interference, a run-in by Rusev during the match. So Ethan Page took advantage, and he got the win. And we saw some shenanigans after the match involving the Intercontinental title scene with Penta, Rusev, Ethan Page, and Javon Evans all getting mixed in there together. I thought this was lovely from top to bottom.
Good on Ethan getting called up. I'm not a crazy Ethan Page fan. I think he's a great wrestler. You're right. He doesn't do the flashy shit. And maybe that's just a little bit of the spoiled nature of today's wrestling style. Everything's a little bit more high octane, a little bit more fast paced. There's always a little something, a little stamp on everybody's skill set. So maybe that's why I was a little underwhelmed with his performance, because I've just been spoiled by, the other 80% of the roster that does something psychotic in the middle of their matches. However, that being said, you guys know me, my favorite wrestling style. I love full-blown technical wrestling. That's my favorite thing ever. I'm a rest hold fan. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, I think Javon really stood out here. I like we got to see a little aggression from him. He's a little pissed off that he was this close and didn't win last night. Saw some great offense from him, some great defense. But I do think that Ethan Page winning was absolutely the right move. You cannot just call a guy up and then, DOA him, immediately losing. But you can't beat Javon either clean, because you're trying to build Javon. Otherwise, why would you give him such a showcase in the ladder match at WrestleMania? So I think protecting him in the finish here was the right call. And I also love the Intercontinental Championship stuff because now I feel like Javon really is no longer just flipping and dipping around, like Los Americanos or, floating around a couple of high flying matches. No, he's got a purpose now. And that's what I'm really happy with.
I am so happy that Ethan Page is finally brought up. In my opinion, he should have been brought up after he beat Javon Evans in that. I'm pretty sure it was some kind of hardcore, but it was like the feud whenever they were feuding against each other that led to, I want to say, I don't exactly remember the match type, but I know what I'm talking about. But they brought Ethan up. But I have to wonder, when is it JC Jane's turn? Because I feel like she's close to being brought up. She is definitely close, and I've heard something online that, on NXT Revenge, like last week I think it was, or whenever the last Revenge was, that she got moved off of the NXT roster, which I don't know how true that is. But Javon's insane. I mean, how could he even get bouncy as he did after the hell of a ladder match he was put through? These two, being Javon and Ethan Page, have a lot of history, as I just said. They always put on good matches, no matter what match type it is. I mean, this might be too early to say this for Javon, but Ethan probably. But I feel like these two are wrestling soulmates. I wouldn't really say that, but I mean, they're close to it because all their matches are good and they have insane chemistry with each other. So, I mean, it's an amazing main roster debut for Ethan Page. And next week, we are more than likely seeing Penta and Javon versus Rusev and Ethan Page because Rusev, holy crap, Rusev and Ethan did technically team up because Ethan helped Rusev with Penta. So, yeah, I can see that next week.
Yeah, but Toxic, here's the thing. It's not too early to say that. It's really not. When it comes to Ethan Page and Javon Evans, those two, they truly are. You look right back to NXT and how that went, because I know which portion you're talking about. Aren't you talking about a little bit after Javon Evans got his jaw busted up?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. So just those two alone, this is going to be phenomenal for Ethan Page. And there are several matches that I would love to see from Ethan Page. Him versus Roman, I wouldn't mind seeing. Him versus Penta. Him versus Punk, I wouldn't mind seeing as well.
Cody.
Him versus Cody at some point, especially with their AEW history. I would not mind so many different matches coming from Ethan Page against these massive stars.
I got one for you. Triple threat, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, the good thing is it looks like they're going to put him in that mid-card Intercontinental title scene. And I got to be honest, man, I would love to see Ethan Page as Intercontinental Champion, especially what he did with that North American title down on NXT. Man, I can't wait to see what they do with Ethan Page. It's going to be good.
I can't lie, though. When Rusev put that IC belt on his shoulder, and I saw it matching the black and gold of his gear, he looked pretty goddamn good holding that belt.
All right, the second debut or call-up that we got of the night was Sol Ruca came out and interrupted Liv Morgan, of all people, while she was trying to do her celebration after winning the women's world title at WrestleMania. And I'm like, God damn, pretty ballsy, Sol Ruca, going straight to the top here. And this turned into a match out of nowhere for Liv Morgan. Good old Adam Pearce came out and was like, let's give Las Vegas a good old-fashioned fight. Sol Ruca versus Liv Morgan, one-on-one. And man, a lot of stuff happened in this match. I'm thinking when as soon as I saw Sol Ruka show up on Raw, I'm like, oh my god, is this a call up? I don't know, man, because she has that thing with Zarya. I don't think it's a call up. I'm sure Zarya is gonna have something to say about this. And yeah, what do you know? Zarya showed up, attacked Sol Ruka, and Liv Morgan took advantage to get the win. 1, 2, 3 over Sol. But I mean, for being women's world champion, Liv Morgan, Sol Ruka gave her a long night. Liv Morgan. It was a hell of a competitive match for the world champion.
This is a great freaking match, man. This is actually probably my favorite match of the entire night. This was one of those things where you could say, oh, hey, it's just a spotlight match and it's going to be over in 3-4 minutes. Roxanne, Raquel, they're going to interfere early on. Nope. They had an extremely competitive match. Liv looked great. Sol looked even better. Sol looked amazing in this match. I mean, holy shit. And the crowd was nuts for Sol Ruka. You guys have another homegrown star in your midst. She was getting "this is awesome" chants, holy shit chants that were loud as hell for that round off back handspring over the top rope to take out Roxanne and Raquel. I mean, they were fired up. She is Raw coded, but she's main roster coded. The fans were eating her up. I was very much expecting some involvement from maybe Brie Bella and Paige because they were in the crowd for this. And I thought you were going to spotlight them right before the Women's World Champion comes out. And Women's World Champion stays out for a match. Is Paige going to get involved? Is Nikki going to slap her? But Nikki just had surgery. Is Brie going to do something? Because I'd love to see Paige versus Liv. And we didn't get that. So I was surprised. I had completely forgotten about Zarya. You guys know I don't follow NXT that closely. I leave that to you two gentlemen. So I was like, fuck. So here comes Zarya ruining a fantastic match. But then I thought, well, it makes sense. You don't want to beat Sol Ruka because you want to keep her strong. She has another match tomorrow. But also, you're trying to, the entire audience is, growing to love her from the couple of stints she's popped up on the main roster for. But you also can't beat Liv because Liv just won the world championship at WrestleMania. So this was a smart interference, same way that Rusev interfered in between Javon and Ethan Page. Keep him strong. Is it tired? Yes. Does it make sense? Absolutely. But I thought this was a phenomenal showcase for Sol Ruka. And if it was anything to go by, the crowd was insane for her. And I still believe this match proves she is the Charlotte Flair of this generation. And I do not think she oversold the Oblivion. I thought that sell was fucking amazing.
I feel like I speak for everyone except Snug because he does not want to see Sol Ruka every goddamn week on Monday Night Raw. But please fucking call Sol Ruka up as soon as she is done with the last woman standing match against Zarya. I mean, even if you don't want them to finish it, bring Zarya up with her if you don't want them to finish it. If you don't want that feud to be finished, done and over with tomorrow, just bring Zarya up with her. Just anything to get Sol Ruka up on the main roster because she looked like not even $1 million, like $1 billion. So that landing when Sol was draping on the rope, I did not like that. That looked a little bit scary to me. I also liked the fact that Jessica Carr looked like she was just getting a break from Becky Lynch, and she was just genuinely interested in the match. The match was great. The little cartwheel thing that I don't even know what it's called. I'm not gymnastics. The thing that she did to get to the outside of to ringside. When Raquel and Roxanne were gonna catch her, it looked like they were just a little bit too far away. And they struggled to try and catch her, but they got her. I would have liked to see Sol win this, but I mean, for Zarya's sakes, she just had to be right then and there. But it makes sense because Liv just won the title, so you want to keep her momentum strong.
Yeah, with Sol, if this is an actual call-up, this unfortunately televises exactly how that last woman standing match is going to go, and it's going to go in Zaria's favor. Because if this is a call-up, like a full call-up, then she has to lose that match in order to be called up fully. I mean, no, not necessarily, but I still have the feeling like that's exactly what's going to end up happening, simply because of the fact that it is Sol Ruca. And still, with Sol being called up, put her against the Judgment Day, because there is one person in that group that she has history with, that being Roxanne Perez. So go ahead and do that, because I would love to see that run back.
All right. We heard from the Vision and Paul Heyman. The Vision are the current World Tag Team Champions. And the Vision came out after a very nice, well done, well produced video package of Brock Lesnar and his retirement. I mean, it's looking like he's done. Just like that. Unannounced, unadvertised. Brock Lesnar's like, I'm going to put this kid over at Mania and I'm just going to leave. Are you guys buying this still, or after seeing...
I'm absolutely not buying it. He's showing up before SummerSlam.
Okay, fair enough. Paul Heyman put over Brock Lesnar, and then Logan Paul cut a promo with a lot of boos. He was getting a lot of heat about the fact that they lost their match at WrestleMania thanks to ISHO Speed. And then Paul Heyman brings out Braun Breaker, and when Paul Heyman announces Braun Breaker the way that he usually announced Brock Lesnar, I'm like, holy shit, like, the future of the WWE is in good hands. Like, you got Logan Paul, who he's still young. He's got a long way to go if he decides to continue doing this WWE shit, which I hope he does. You got Austin Theory. You got Braun Breaker. I don't know. Maybe one day those guys will be in the main event, you know, with the Punks and the Romans and, you know, the Codys are right now. So that was an exciting thought that came through my mind. But Braun Breaker cuts a promo, and I love Braun Breaker. He has a great presence. He looks like $1 million. But this promo, I just felt like as soon as he started talking, the people just did not give a fuck. Because they just started singing Seth's names. They started wanting Braun Breaker. And I think Braun Breaker, with his presence, I think he needs to grab people's attention more. I don't know what it is, because it was like, oh, yeah, he's back. Yeah, everyone's excited to see him. And then he starts talking, and it's just like the energy just changed, at least for me, and maybe the crowd in the arena too. But Seth Rollins shows up, attacks Braun Breaker from behind with the steel chair, and busted his shit wide open. What happened there? Did Seth Rollins accidentally hit Braun Breaker in the head instead of the back? Because Braun Breaker was leaking after this. But besides that, it was a great segment. Good to see Braun Breaker back. And he got his hands on Seth Rollins again.
Yeah, I thought half of this segment was pretty nothing. I get annoyed sometimes when the crowd boos so loud you can't hear a promo. Like, just shut the fuck up sometimes. Just let him talk. You don't want to hear him speak, but if you shut the fuck up and let him talk, he'll be done faster. And then you don't have to worry about him talking, because he'll have already finished what the fuck he's trying to say. I mean, it was funny when it was Dominic Mysterio's whole shtick, but it got old after 6 straight months of it. When it comes down to it, Braun Breaker coming out, I'm with you on this one. I definitely think because he was out for 2-ish months, that a lot of his momentum and aura cooled off, which is going to happen when you're not on TV. But I believe in Paul Heyman enough that he can help Braun get it back, and I think Braun is capable of getting the fans back. Maybe it's also just because it was this crowd that has been here all fucking weekend, and it's perhaps maybe they're just tired But at the same time, I think Braun was showing a lot of promise before he went out on injury. So I do have full, belief that he can get back to the level of heat that he had prior. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I mean, also, you got to think a lot of people lost faith in the Vision storyline between injuries from Seth, then Braun Breaker, then directly Bronson Reed right after. They were stuck with Logan and Austin for a month and a half straight, and that was nothing. And then Paul Heyman just abandons them, and then to go with Brock Lesnar, and then it looks like no one even cares about the Vision story in the writers' room. So if the writers' room doesn't seem to care, then why the fuck should the fans care? And the fans have kind of been like, well, we haven't cared in a while, so why do we care now just because you're back? I think it's going to take a little bit of tweaking to get the fans back on the side of this, but I thought it still accomplished reestablishing Braun's place in the pecking order on the roster and in the Vision.
And hold on, I completely forgot one thing. There's so much shit happened in this one segment. The Street Profits are back. They fucking came out to assist Seth Rollins on this 3-on-1 beatdown versus the Vision. The Street Profits returned and went straight towards the tag team champions of Monday Night Raw. Mr. Blood, let's get your thoughts on that, and then we can move on to what you guys thought about the entire segment.
Absolutely. So you guys know this. I've said this many times. I'm just happy to say it. I've met the Street Profits just a few weeks ago at MegaCon, just shopping around, got pictures with them, got to talk to Angelo Dawkins, got to talk to Montez Ford. I also met Omos at the exact same time. They were all walking together. And Montez was just really in good spirits about everything. I said, man, they got to book you guys more. You guys deserve to be pushed. I said, you guys should be champions. Angelo makes a joke, takes a sip of his drink, goes, what you talking about, bro? I'm just enjoying my vacation. And he took a sip of his drink. And then Montez laughed and was just, it was they're very just good energy guys. They're just cool. So to talk to them a month ago, and say that to them and then have them pop up tonight and see that it looks like they're getting that push. They've finally gotten off the SmackDown turnwheel and they're literally on the big show going after a pretty important story in that of tag champions. I'm extremely excited for this. And bro, let me tell you, make them the champions. These guys have been on the sidelines waiting for their moment for so fucking long. You saw how the crowd reacted to them. These guys have always had the it factor, and I hope that we're finally putting some respect on the Street Profits names. Because you know what? They want that smoke.
Not a lot of thoughts on the Heyman promo, other than Braun Breaker being back. I love that he's back, and can't wait for Bronson Reed to return. I feel like they're gonna have to do the same thing that they got to do with Braun Breaker to get his momentum back. Because I remember back in like October when it was the build up for Crown Jewel, I was actually at one of those Raws. Just it was on fire for Bronson Reed, so can't wait to see him back. But never mind, the Street Profits are back and with their OG theme song, we want the small, yeah, you get that one. And here's a hot take. I think the Street Profits will be the first team to hold both new versions of the tag titles. But when I saw the back of Braun Breaker's head, I said, holy shit. Just how hard did Seth hit Braun? I mean, I get that you're heated with him, but holy shit. You gonna take his head out? Yeah.
Braun, hopefully you're okay, because holy crap, that was one hell of a hit for you to start bleeding like that. The Street Profits? Yes, please! Thank God they are off of SmackDown, because they seriously needed this. They really, really did. And my only thoughts on everybody except for Braun Breaker is this. Hey, Logan Paul. Apparently, you hate the outsiders when everything doesn't go in your favor. Because I am going to remind you, as much as you say, oh, I hate it when these streamers and celebrities come into our world and all of that. Dude, you brought ISO Speed into this. He didn't want to be into this. You shoved him into the 6-man tag. That was you. So, of course, you're going to end up hating it because it didn't go your way. Because otherwise, you love the fact that he was in it.
Yeah, and he also helped train him and all that stuff, right? Get him prepared for it too and all that shit. That's true. That's a good point. All right, y'all. Well, we raced through the show. We're already at the final segment for the main event. The new World Heavyweight Champion.
You missed a match.
Who?
JD McDonough, Finn Balor.
I did. Oh my God. You're right, bro. That happened. And Dominic Mysterio attacked Finn Balor after the match. Finn Balor won. And he was also bleeding. Finn Balor was. A lot of blood, unexpected blood on this episode of Monday Night Raw. But yeah, man, for a feud like this one with a lot of history. And, you know, I like both of these guys. I did not really care too much for it, bro. But how'd you guys feel about it?
I kept looking at the clock because I was like, how long do they plan on making this episode? Because this match ended like right around 10:17, 10:15. And I was like, is there something else? Like, if we only had like, how many matches was this night? Maybe 4? Was it 4 matches or 3? It felt like there was so little wrestling on this show. And normally Triple H does like a 5-match card. This was literally like, I was like, hold on. I know they mentioned this match at the start of the show. Okay. Is there something else? Are they doing like this to 11 o'clock tonight, my time on Eastern? And it was 10:17. The match is over. And I was like, the fuck else is after this? I totally forgot Roman was coming. So when it comes down to it, God, man, JD McDonough is extremely underrated. That man is good. I mean, good. And I would have loved to have seen JD and Finn mix this up at like Backlash where they can get way more time. Because I feel like if they had a couple more weeks build, because it's much more personal to Finn that it was JD that stabbed him in the back than Dom. He straight up said it. He expected Dom to stab him in the back. But JD, he trained JD. That's like his little brother, bro. I would have loved to have seen a couple more weeks of build for that part of the story and then let them hash out at Backlash, let them go 12, 15 freaking minutes and just put on a freaking spectacle and really get some shine on JD. I just feel like ever since they kicked Finn out of the Judgment Day, I genuinely feel like they've kind of fumbled a lot of the great ways they could have handled this aftermath. I mean, we're talking 3 years of story just between Finn and Dom alone. Like, this has been, in my opinion, so lacklusterly handled that it left so much, on the cutting room floor, in my opinion, for what could have been some really good dramatic storytelling. And it's kind of disappointing, to be honest. The match was fine, but I would love to see these guys actually get their time in, because this could be a really cool other, mentor and student story. If done right, and we could get some real mileage out of that. And I was disappointed that they were just like, here you go, on a Monday Night Raw.
Surprisingly, and I hate that I felt like this during the match, but I didn't care for it. I really didn't. I couldn't even pay attention long enough for it because I was just uninterested. I mean, we saw Finn at Dom at Mania, and then we had no build up for this other than the few video packages. So I just didn't care for it. I mean, if you want to, like, that could have just been the start of the story and then have it build up until we get to Backlash. I won't mind that. But one other thought is about Finn getting busted open. I felt like even though I'm pretty sure it was only just him and Breaker that got busted open, but I felt like a lot of people got busted open on tonight's show, which I don't think there needed to be that much.
Yeah, but I'm with Blood on this. This should not have happened here. It should have happened at Backlash. Like with Dom and all of that, he full blown said, "Hey, this wasn't fair. It was supposed to be against only Finn Balor. It wasn't supposed to be in a street fight. It was just supposed to be Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. This isn't fair. I wasn't supposed to deal with the demon." He said that during the post show for last night. So that makes sense there. But I wanted more out of Finn Balor versus JD McDonough simply because of the past that they have. So in that case, I really didn't care for it because I wanted more out of it. Something that would have been bigger at a PLE compared to a random episode of Raw.
Yeah, I think this was just a match just to do another angle for the ongoing feud that looks like it's still going to go take place between, Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. So that they're still going to go at it. All right, now for real this time, the final segment, the main event was the new World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns. He's walking around backstage through Gorilla, holding that belt, really proud of himself. And the Usos are in Gorilla. And Roman Reigns invites the Usos to tag along with him to the ring, which gave me flashbacks to the Bloodline, just like the good old days, right? And Roman Reigns and the Usos together go to the ring, and Roman's like, it's time to talk about some family business, right? I miss you guys. I miss doing business with you guys. And I'm like, damn, bro, like, are they going to join form the Bloodline again? Like, fucking, what is this, 2020 or what's going on, right? But this time Roman says, I don't want you to serve me. I just want you to ride with me, just run with me, basically, right? And Jimmy Uso's like, look, man, you're always gonna be our tribal chief, and we acknowledge you. And just like the good old days, Roman Reigns standing in the middle, holding gold, side by side with the Usos, throwing up the ones, acknowledging the tribal chief. But Jacob Fatu is on Monday Night Raw. He showed up, and he went face to face with Roman Reigns. A lot of people were thinking, oh, it's going to be Gunther, the one to step up to Roman first, or Oba Femi, because Oba Femi called out Roman Reigns last night on Mania in the post media scrum thing that they do. Roman Reigns responded to Oba Femi as well. So a lot of people were chanting Oba during this whole thing, but it was Jacob Fatu. And if you want to talk about Bloodline, well, he's part of the Bloodline. And things got really interesting. Jacob Fatu said he wants everything that Roman has. He doesn't want to be tribal chief, but he wants the watch. He wants the money. He wants the gold. He wants the shoe deal. He wants to provide a better life for his family. That's just real shit. Roman wants the same thing for Jacob Fatu. But Roman doesn't think Jacob Fatu is ready, and it looks like this is going to go down at Backlash.
Yeah, so here's the thing. They did reform the Bloodline tonight. The thing is, it was a very soft version of doing it. It wasn't some big moment build up. It wasn't some, hey, let's tell them this is like, it was literally, I don't want you guys to serve me, but I want you to stand at my side. So the Bloodline, out of nowhere, for what now, the second time in 2 years, has reformed. For the third time in 2 years, has fully reformed. So we're back in a new groove, in a different way, because now it's not about pecking order. Now it's about equality. It's a babyface Bloodline, a full-blown babyface OG just the first three before Solo, before Sammy, Bloodline. No Paul Heyman. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I also just realized, I guess we're just not doing the draft anymore. Because Jacob coming out just kind of solidified. They're not doing the draft anymore. They're just going to start quietly moving people over and swapping brands as surprises. And I think that's what this week, next week on Raw and SmackDown is basically going to be. Them shuffling people around. I mean, Rhea headed over to Raw tonight. Jacob showed up here. I mean, you got people from NXT popping up. Like, there's no draft anymore. I think the draft is done. I think it's literally just going to be, hey, we're going to move you when we want to move you. And now, we're just not going to acknowledge anything about the GMs trading people or nothing. It's just, you're here now. That's it. So I'm wondering what that means for the rest of the SmackDown roster and next Monday. But I thought this was interesting. And let's see where it goes from here.
This felt like old times, the good days, just Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. Before Solo, before Sammy, not before Heyman. Heyman was there before Jimmy and Jay. But I hope we don't see this every week, which looks like we are going to, because in my opinion, the Usos need to the Usos need to focus on their own thing and let Roman focus on the World Heavyweight Championship. Jacob showing up was unexpected as hell. I thought it was going to be Oba because, I mean, he was the only one to call his shot other than Gunther because he did call his shot in a backstage segment. But I thought it was going to be Oba first. But if we're getting this at Backlash for the World Heavyweight Championship, I'm all gassed up for it and no breaks with it.
This feels right. Just to have the Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso, the big three. It feels right to have these three side by side again. It really does. And at this point, I would not mind having those three on my screen every week together again because it works. It worked the first time. There's a reason why it lasted 4 years. The second iteration, the one that Solo was leading, no, absolutely not. But here we are again with them reforming, and I'm happy with it. Jacob coming out and him going, hey, I want everything that you have. I don't want to be tribal chief, but I want that title. Screw that. I don't want that title. I need that title. Him saying that got me hyped for it because I know what this is leading to. It's leading to Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title. And that match alone is absolutely going to put asses in seats, no matter what the stipulation is.
Also, one thing that none of us mentioned here. It looks like there's a light stipulation on this match, not fully stipulated, but a, let's say, je ne sais quoi, an ultimatum. Not really an ultimatum, kind of a red pill, blue pill. You'll get the match. Maybe you can beat me, maybe you can't. Are you prepared for the responsibility that goes along with beating me and holding this title? But more than that, are you prepared for if you lose? Because if you lose, are you prepared to acknowledge me? That's what Roman said. So I'm wondering, is Jacob's new role on Raw, if he loses to Roman, is Jacob now the newest member of this new version of the bloodline? And more than that, Roman specifically said on the post-show last night, yo, we're going to fix that part-time shit. You're going to be seeing my ass all summer, which tells me this entire story, this new version of the bloodline, is only going to go up until the end of the summer.
Which, let's be for real, Roman ain't losing that championship. I love Jacob Fatu, but let's just call it how it is. Roman just won it. He's not going to lose it at Backlash versus Jacob Fatu. The other thing, too, it's still going to be a dope match, and I love the story already. It's off to a great start. But yeah, that was the other thing that came to mind. The fact that Roman Reigns said, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to let you think about it, and I will see you next week, and you can tell me your answer next week. And I'm like, holy shit. Roman Reigns is going to be on Raw 2 weeks in a row. What is going on here? And on top of that, they're setting up a match for Backlash, so he's going to wrestle on the next PLE, which is what coming up. What is going on, bro? So yeah, it was great, man. This whole thing was really good.
Yeah, man. Backlash is on May 9th, and you got to wonder if Roman said you're going to be seeing my ass all summer, unquotes. I got to imagine he's dropping it at SummerSlam. The question is he dropping it to Oba? Is he dropping it to Seth Rollins? Because you know that story thread. I never lost that title, said Seth. Or is he dropping it to Braun Breaker? And that's what I'm excited for, where this is leading. I genuinely think we're going to be in for one hell of a summer. And I think SummerSlam this year might just be the most anticipated PLE this year entirely.
I could see Roman holding it until next Mania, bro, if I'm being honest.
I genuinely don't believe anybody actually wants to see that. They love seeing Roman. They don't want to see that title disappear off TV because remember, he specifically said all summer, not all year, all summer. So if summer ends and he's still champion, is it going to go back to Roman of old? Every couple of months he drops in with the title? Because then what the fuck do the people in the main roster, in the main event of Raw, have to vie for? Just whenever Roman decides to pop up every 2-3 weeks to do a promo? Nah, no one wants to see that again. Let him be here for one last full summer, lose it, pop back up for Mania season next year, and then go back to his part-timing until he retires.
Yeah, good point. Well, I don't know about you guys, man, but I am really pumped about where these storylines are heading when it comes to the WWE. So yeah, man, really looking forward to this new road to next year WrestleMania. Is going to be great, dog. I'm happy that we went another year of doing this with y'all and putting out great content and shit. So I'm pumped for what's coming, fellas. But with that being said, that was the Monday Night Raw review after WrestleMania. And we will be back again pretty soon. But until next time, let's get up out of here.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling, episode 1 of the newly begun season 5. We are in a new era because this is what we do, as Triple H loves to say. And you know what? For those that know, today is also the 420 edition of Monday Night Raw. So until next time, we will see you. But remember to kick it with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after Raw, NXT, and SmackDown go off the air, respectively, for post-show reviews. This Thursday, we will not be doing our one-on-one on TikTok Live with myself, Mr. Blood, and Edgar. We will be live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, of course, Apple and Spotify with a special guest instead. So tune in at 9 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. Pacific for that. Of course, if you love hanging out with us during the shows, you can check out all of our social media. We do segment-to-segment live reaction content on all of our social media. And of course, if you ever miss episodes with us live like this, those episodes are in a beautiful little folder for you to check out on Apple and Spotify. All of the links are in all of our descriptions. And of course, you can support the podcast by heading over to our teepublic.com. That is teepublic.com/snug-wrestling to pick up your Snug Wrestling merch on more than 70 different items, 70 different designs, and enjoy that. So until next time, stay safe, stay savage, stay snug. That was our 6th episode streak in the book since last Tuesday. I said that was Foley.
One word.
One word.
Yeah.